All right, y'all. We're back. We are back. We are back. We are going to redo the 706 again. Performance was just terrible. I was not happy at all with its performance. Um, I think that there's too much oil. I get a little oil happy sometimes, and when you do that, you're going to end up hurting yourself. And a couple things have happened to this watch. A few things broke. Well, I'll just do a quick scan right here. That way y'all can see. There's all the parts laid out. Everything's been cleaned in pro alcohol, scrubbed, cleaned. Dries up really quick. Just put on a napkin, towel, something to soak up the alcohol. And we got some other pieces, and we got a broke spring. And I will tell you all about what happened with the broke spring. So I don't know what happened, but uh, let's go ahead and start getting this together, and I'll talk while I'll tell you what's happened. I couldn't set the time on it. Um, Something happened. This is my Myers uh movement holder. Y'all know that it's got the quick release right there. Slide it together. You can also screw it. Yeah. I know I brag on that thing all the time. But for anybody new for the channel, that's my Myers 57. I want to appreciate everybody too. Let me give a shout out to everybody out there. I thank everybody by watching my videos. Thank all new subscribers. I appreciate y'all, man. Really, really do. And I apologize for all my camera mistakes, for my hair being in the camera. Got my head in the camera. But I tell you what, y'all, I keep it real. What you see is what happens. So, that's the way to do it. So, no editing here. It's 100% what I do is what you see. Okay. But anyway, so I couldn't adjust the time anymore. And I don't know exactly what went out, but somehow this piece right here, I don't think was uh, moving the sliding clutch correctly. So I don't know what happened, but we don't have a spring for that at the moment. I have another movement we can probably borrow it from, but that's minor. So I'm not really gonna worry about that today. We can go ahead and still assemble this together. We don't have to have that exactly today to get this back together. Um, I can do one of two things. I can either fix it as soon as possible, or when the time runs out, I'll wind it up when it gets to that time that ever stops on. That's what time I'm going to wind it up. Or I can move the hands by hand, but I choose not to do it that way. Okay, just a tiny, tiny bit of oil there for the oh for the barrel. Like I said, I went too much on the oil, and I was having problems with the auto oiler, and I think it just put out too much oil. And when it does that, that's just bad things are gonna happen. And we can't have that. So once again, I'm gonna take out the auto oiler, and I'm just gonna do a test just to make sure it's getting some oil out. Let me I hope my head ain't in here. But let me check just to make sure there's some oil on these. Yep, okay. I don't want to get my head in there. I'm trying to avoid that. These auto oilers work really, really great. I think last time I just wasn't trusting that it was working, and I just overdid it. If y'all can hear my watch in the background, that is my Bun Special taken away. Boy, she is a beauty. She is a beauty. That watch is something else. It at nighttime, man, you can just hear that old girl. And it's not even fully wound either. That's got a high amplitude. The amplitude on that's over 300. It's just it's amazing. It's an amazing watch. That's one of my favorite watches. I don't carry it that much. Not as much as I should. My other watches I carry quite a bit. My Hamilton Railroad, the GMT, I carry that one quite often. That's kind of my go-to watch. But well, you never know. I'll have days where I'll have one watch one day, and then I'll decide to change it up, and I'll put in another watch another day. So you never know. Okay, there's the old train wheels. Like I said, I've done this so many times. I know this watch inside and out. Just some very, 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 very light oil right there. Very light. Very light. I was just going way, way too heavy on the oil. And, I tell others, not to do that. And then I caught myself doing it. And it's easy to do. It really is. You just think your watch needs oil. You don't think you're giving it enough, or you just don't. And actually, you're just doing more harm than good. And you could have your watch running if you don't have a time grapher. You wouldn't probably even notice it. But once you put it on a time grapher, you'll see it. It'll show up. That's when it shows up. A time grapher will tell on you. It has no problem letting you know that you done something wrong, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I got it. That's why I got it. Tell me what I done wrong. Alright, this is the barrel bridge is going on here. Usually handle it with tweezers, but dang, I put this thing on so many times I can just kind of lay it up on there. I like to do mine this way here. It just steadies everything. It's a lot easier. If you were to try to put the bridge on right here for the third wheel and the escape wheel, I find it hard to do that because these aren't stable. Once you get these stable, the ones for the escapement can be a little bit easier. Let me put this washer in real quick before I forget about it. It came out when it was cleaning, which isn't a problem, but I just happened to see it. And I was like, oh, let me put that in real quick, because by golly, if I don't do it now, there's a good chance I won't forget it. So yeah, I between balance issues on one and oil issues on another, I decided to deal with the oil issue today. Today my day off, and I enjoy working on my watches. I still want to service my Hamilton, my 992B. It runs really, really good. Really good. Oop, 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 oop. Slow it down. Slow myself down. So that's why I have not done that. Sorry for seeing my hands in here. I'll try to move them out of the way here as fast as I can. I'll tell you what, I'll zoom out a little bit. Maybe that might help a little bit. That way you ain't seeing nothing but my dirty ass fingernails. Alright. Okay. Alright. I can see a pivot here. I can see the pivot there. Everything looks lined up there. Alright. Let's put a little bit of oil. Yeah, I had to do just, I mean, it just wasn't right. It, when I put it on a grapher, it just seemed like it's like just being held back. You know, I know that balance wheel assembly was going way too good, and it just seemed like last time I did this, I made a video on it too, but it just seemed like I just put way too much oil on there. By the time I was done with that, I knew I done screwed something up. I was happy with the build, but that wasn't the issue. But I just wasn't. Later on, when I did a performance on it, it just didn't seem right. So this is a left-handed thread. So this has to go to the left to tighten. This is a odd. So I feel like an odd and even. This is like the odd size. So the odd size gets the odd adjustment. Alright, excuse my hands for a minute. Let me grab my parts. It's amazing how they either flipped upside down, never want to come out. It's amazing how these parts will always land upside down. Never right side up. They always land upside down. This is the only hobby I know that does that, where parts will land upside down. I mean, screws will land up on their heads every time. If you was working on a car engine or something like that, you'd never ever screw land up on its head. That damn thing landed down in the damn motor somewheres. Alright. Ratchet wheels going on here. I call this a ratchet assembly. The whole unit. I really don't know what it's called. And I don't think I got this on right because the damn screw ain't going in there. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. If I don't sit down in there right, that screw isn't going to go in there because this is a real small thread. It's got to be just right. There it goes. Okay. Next up is the escapement and third wheel assembly. This bridge is the hardest for me. I really struggle with this bridge. It's only 2 damn pivots, but these 2 pivots for me just kick my ass. I mean, if y'all see my last video of me doing this, these things here just kick the shit out of me. I don't know why either. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just the way they're made. I don't know. But I try so hard to knock this in on the first try, and it never happens. It's not going to happen with that damn screw in there, I'll tell you that much. Alright, let's get that screw out of there. I can't have that in there. Let's see if we can get this laid in there on a close to the first try. My Hamilton's got it to where that the pivot for the escapement is a cap jewel, and that's a real pain in the ass. It was very hard for me to see that. It took me a long time before I tightened up that screw. I used my flashlight. I used every tool I could think of to make sure I could see that pivot was in there. And that was my Hamilton Salesman, which really isn't all that rare of a watch. I see quite a few of those for sale. I thought it was kind of a rare watch, but I don't think it's all that rare. I think they made quite a few of them. Not as rare as I thought it was going to be. But I didn't pay that much for it. The person I got it from, oh wow, look at that, it went right in there. The person I got it from said they couldn't get it to run. It wasn't a runner. And I got it really cheap. And then come to find out, the balance was overbanked. That's all it was. It was overbanked. So I just took the balance out, put it in the right way, and it ran, but it ran kind of sluggish. And I gave it a good service, and that watch just runs unbelievably fast. I mean, it's a goer. I don't carry it that much, not as much as I probably should. I've taken it with me a couple times, but look at that, wow, look at that. Ooh, man, that's beautiful. That is beauty. That is what you want to see. That is a good turning movement right there. That is what I wanted to see. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry about my hands, y'all. I try to keep y'all close, tuned in here. The only problem is in order to do that, you're going to have to see my hands. Let me zoom in and I'll let y'all see that one more time. You can see, just real quick, see how free everything is right there? That's what you want to see. Nice, free-flowing movement. And the reason why it's doing that is because it doesn't have the pallet. The pallet fork isn't in there, so y'all can see. So y'all know that's why we could do that. Okay, here we go, y'all. Just a tiny, not much on that one. Tiny drop. That's it. That's it right there. That's all that needs. I did way too much last time. I know I did. And it just slowed my. I feel like it slugged my watch. I slowed it down. It was just a big problem. Okay, next to the pallet fork. Let's go ahead and get that installed, and we are almost on our way. Almost, because the balance is not together. All right. I'm also, when I do this, what you can do is make sure you're checking the jewels as you're doing this. Make sure your jewels are in good shape. And make sure the pallet fork is not upside down like this is. Couldn't get the damn thing in there because it's upside down. So make sure your parts are going the right way. But yeah, I always make sure make sure the jewels look good while you're doing all this. Just give them a good look over. All right. Pallet fork makes me really nervous too. Um, and it's just because it's one of those parts that can get out of line real easy, and you're gonna tighten it down and you're gonna snap it. So there's a few parts on the watch to me that are just nerve wracking. Other people might not even bother them. They might think that's probably the easiest, but to me, this is kind of the hardest. But you know, that's why I like doing this hobby. You know, it's got challenges, and you know, it's those challenges that you got one shot at it, because you know, this is not go to the hardware and go buy spare parts. Um, you know, you break this, and you're gonna be putting some money back. You know, last time I done this, I dropped the darn thing right in there, and I had no troubles. This time, it doesn't want to do that. It's going all over the place. Let me check my pallet here. Let me check this pallet for again, because it's been bumped around too many times. There we go. That's what I want to see. Nice, sitting straight. Sitting nice and level. Phew. So girl just give me trouble today. Come on, baby. Don't be like that. Oh, come on. Up. There it went. Well, let's start from scratch here. Let's try this way here. It's got these little it's got you know, it's got these little posts that they fit right into the movement plate here. So when you got it, those posts go right in that go on the plate right there, and that kind of that supports it, gives it a good, so you can lines it up. So I got it in the post there. There we go. I don't know. Did y'all see that? I guess it was not a camera's out of tilter. But what happens is when it's lined up right, and everything's lined up and it's on the pivot, this plate, it'll just fall right down. It'll fall right into place. You shouldn't have to do any forcing at all. You shouldn't even have to put it in place. It'll fall into place. So don't force anything. Just let it fall in place. It'll go. When everything's lined up where it should be, it'll go on its own. You shouldn't have to do anything else to it. Okay. Now what I want to do is, I got one screw in there. So I'm just going to take my tweezers and I want to get at least this one screw started down in there, because that's going to hold this down. So therefore, I don't have to worry about it coming back up when I put the other screw in there, or it getting bumped around or something. Okay. So now I'll just do a double check. I just want to make sure that they're both in there, and I'm okay with that. And we're good to go. We'll grab the second screw. These screws are tiny. I mean, these damn things are small. And a good pair of tweezers really does help. Brass tweezers are the best. I don't have a pair of brass tweezers. That's probably next on my list at some point in time. They're definitely really, really good to work with, because brass is a soft metal, and it's a lot easier on your movement. It doesn't cause scratches, and it handles your parts better and all that kind of stuff. It's just got a lot of good benefits to brass. Brass is about the best thing to work with, the best thing to use as a tool for any type of metal. These type of tweezers here, steel like that, they don't give. Okay, I gotta use my. Oh no, that ain't gonna work. Oh man, I have got to. I don't know how this happened, but somehow or another. No, I ain't gonna use that one either. Use my black one here. Oh. Well. I was gonna say, somehow my screwdrivers have been magnetized, and I don't know what I have over here that has done that. They have gotten into something. I don't know what they got into, but they got into something, and it has caused havoc. Okay, now we got that done. Let me flip this over real quick. Let's go ahead and flip it over. We'll do the balance here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and oil up the bottom half of these jewels, and we'll get the dial put on, and then we'll do the balance here. We're going to do the balance last. Like I said, I'm just gonna use just a drop on each one of these, because I feel as if I messed that up. So as you can see, there would have been a spring right here. Okay, from oh wait a minute, hold on a second, y'all. Let me show you. Okay, so the spring is missing. There would have been a spring here that operates this right here, and that would bring, that's the yoke. And then there would have been a spring, and it would have dropped it. So that spring would have went on from this post here, made like a loop, and out here it broke. So I can wind it, but I can't set the time. And so I'm not really worried about all that at the moment. That's for another day. I'll have to look for one. I have a movement I can probably borrow from. Like I said, I had that one net movement that's not doing real well. So maybe we can just take it from that. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not really pushing to put all that together right now. I will we'll get it at a later time. As long as I wind it up every day, then I don't have to worry about it. Okay, let's zoom out here for a minute, because y'all ain't gonna see nothing that's zoomed. Alright, let's go ahead and screw down the dial. Let's get this done. And then we will do the balance. So that way there, we don't have to mess around with this. This will be done. And then we can put the balance on there. The balance complete is what they call it. Balance complete. And we'll get this thing refired up. It might do better and it might not. I'm not really sure. I'm just hoping that I can gain a little something, because I have not gained anything, I don't think, doing this. I mean, the other way I had it, I don't think that did anything. Okay, here is the balance. And what I'm going to do is, this has been cleaned. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lay it right on top of here so y'all can see. But I'm going to take my auto oiler pen, and this pen will actually go right down in that hole. So I technically don't have to take this apart. It's been cleaned. And then I just take my auto oiler, just like that, and it puts the oil right in the cap. So now that cap jewel has got the oil in it, just like that. So that's pretty cool about the auto oiler. You can take it apart if you don't want to do it that way, or you feel like it's not getting any oil, then you could take it off. But I have taken them apart after I've done that, and it's got oil in it, so it works. But like I said, it's all preference. You don't have to do it that way. If you're like me, I don't mind taking my watches apart, so I did it just to see if it actually worked. Took it all apart. Okay. This is actually a harder way for me to do it. Some people find this easier. I don't. But it does make sense to do it this way. But you do it this way if you don't want to dangle that spring. Some people don't want to dangle that spring because you can damage it if it gets hung up. So this is a safer way to do it. But like I said, everybody has their own preference on how to work on their watch. You just do whatever right for you. If you like to dangle the springs, well, dangle your spring. If you prefer to do it this way here, there's nothing wrong with that neither. It's just all preference. You just have to try it, and then see if it's something that you like doing. The few times I had done it, I didn't think it was very beneficial. I had a hard time getting it back together doing it like this. But after a little bit of practice, and I found out some ways of watching some other people do it, I kind of took their way of doing it, and then I just kind of made up my own way of doing it, and then everything kind of went together. So you don't want to tighten this down. All I'm doing is I'm just want this to stay still, because I have to put the hairspring. It's got to go back into the balance cock. It's got to go back in that hole. So in order to do that, you have to keep this kind of steady for just a minute. And then you can just take whatever you got and just kind of be careful. And I want to push that collet back in the hole. And if for some reason I can't get it like this, I'll just take it back apart. And I'll just do it manually. The whole trick to doing it this way is technically, if you get it right, the balance should be lined up. It should be ready to go. Your pivot should be lined up. So that's kind of the whole idea behind that. But like I said, it's whatever you make out of it. If it's easier for you, do it. If it ain't, do it the other way. If you do it the other way, what I do is, oop, shit. See, if you can't do it this way, then if you just take it and you just flip it over on its back, the whole assembly, when you tighten up this screw, you got to go slow. Take your time. Do not let that screwdriver slip. You got to add a little bit of pressure, but take your time on it. Don't rush that. Do not rush it. Don't let that screwdriver go slipping that way. It's going to go right through the hairspring. So technically, when you're doing that, this should be lined up. And I can tell you it's not lined up, because see all that movement right there? It ain't lined up for shit. So what we'll do is I'm going to put some wind in it. And then by putting some wind in it, we'll get it set up. So let's put some wind into it, and then we can get we can get it going. We're probably going to have to put it in the case. So let's go ahead and put this in the case for just a second. We got to use the case for that. Some movements you have to put in the case to wind up, and this is one of them. I don't like that. That piece I just had, I was using for winding up my watches. It it won't work on this watch. It works on some of my other watches, but it won't work on this watch. So that's all right. Let's we got some winding in here. This thing's being an ass. Oh, baby. Yeah. Well, it's well, that spring's gonna be an issue. We're gonna have to get that. We're gonna have to get that spring put in there pretty quick. I was hoping that I could kind of bypass it for a while, but I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and get it in there. I was winding it up for the longest time without it, but I guess I was probably hitting it just right. And now that it's not in there no more, it's not, now that I cleaned it and taken it off, I cleaned it and took it out, now it doesn't want to do right, so that's okay. That just means that it needs to be done the right way, right? Okay, well, look, we'll, we'll get it fixed. We're not gonna, we're gonna have to get it fixed. We'll put the spring. Now let me get one off my other movements and we'll see what we can do. But for the time being, let's just go ahead and get the balance set up. We'll get this fixed up. And then we'll adjust the spring. That's not really a big deal. But I gotta get this running first. Then we'll adjust the spring. Because if the watch don't run, there ain't no sense of putting a spring in it, right? Woo! Boy, she's wanting to go. She's wanting to go. Nothing wrong with that. It don't have a lot of wind in it. It was working. I was winding this up the whole time before I made this video. I've been winding this thing up for a long time. I may decide to make a video and tell y'all it's broke, and now it doesn't want to wind up. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think that's in there quite right yet. It doesn't have a lot of wind in it, so it might take I might have to wait until I get some wind in it. So I can tell if it's right or not. It seems like one of the pivots isn't lined up right. Let me take a look at peeky here. Oh, the regulator arm wasn't in the holder for the regulation where it makes that, they call it some type of curve, and it wasn't in the regulator arm. It was laying down on the springs. Well, that'll make it not want to run. I'll tell you what, with that little bit of wind in it, it's doing a way better than what it was. That is excellent. That has definitely picked up some amplitude. I have a little bit of wind in there. A little bit to none. That's like 3 turns on the barrel. Yes, that is what I wanted to see. Okay, we're good on this. Now we got to replace that damn spring. Man, I'm telling you, it's been winding up the whole time. I have not made one tiny adjustment to that. It broke. Been winding it up the whole time. Ain't that something? I'm going to put that ring on it too. Well, y'all, you got to see me put this back together. We're going to do another part. We'll put that spring on there. We'll get this thing fixed up the right way. But I want to appreciate everybody for watching the vid. And thank all my subscribers out there. And yeah, 70, let's see, which one is this? I think it's my 706, if I ain't mistaken. But Illinois, back in action. Better than before. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.